Hey, how's it going? Good morning. It's 6:15 in the morning. I'm not sure what I'm doing up so early, but I am. This is the Big C on Soi 77 in the En Route area. If you were to go not even a half a block up the street, you're on Sukhumvit, and 1.5 blocks that way, you're at BTS En Route. I've showed that in, I don't know, 50 videos because this is where I live. And I'm gonna do a little exploring. This is a very popular street. I was out Saturday night, a couple of nights ago, and what's today? Tuesday morning. And 3 or 4 of the 6 people at the table all lived over here in the Soi 77 area of En Route. One person lived across the way in Soi 50 En Route. So again, affordable units, a lot of condos to choose from. So let's do a pick up the street. Not that far. We're still gonna keep it within a reasonable distance of the BTS, but we'll take a quick peek. You can see this is a busy street any time of day. This is actually nothing. Right across the way is the Block 77. Nice building, and I believe that's the base Park West. I know it's the base. I'm not sure on the Park West. Let me get out of the way of the bus. Both very popular buildings. My one friend, she lives there at the base. And there's many bases around Bangkok, around Thailand, so I think that's Park West. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. And I'm trying to wait for this bus to leave. All right, so there's no stoplight. There is a crosswalk. About a half a block up, you can see a guy walking across the street. Now the cars don't really stop. They'll tap their brakes, half of them. So that's how you would get from the BTS and the Big C to the other side of the street. I always see people walk up here where there is no stop walk, and they're just trying to play chicken running across the street. Now this sign just says the base Sukhumvit 77, but if I'm going from memory, I looked at a unit or two in there when I picked my building. I thought it was the base Park West. Again, right next door to the blocks, and not even 300 feet to the Big C. I walked right by my condo. Right across the street from the blocks is my building, Knightsbridge Prime. And that overhang up on the upper floors is the swimming pool, which was leaking last night for some reason. I kept getting messages that water is leaking from the pool down to the ground, so be aware. So these kinds of things happen. And I've walked by this a million times. I don't know what this is. The UTD Inn says room for rent. I think it's just a simple building. We'll take a peek. Nothing wrong with a smaller apartment if it comes at a pretty good savings. And for comparison, everything changes, so don't quote me on the prices. I paid 16,000 baht for a 1-bedroom. There's also studios in my building. And across the way at the base, I just saw, I think it was a 1-bedroom listed for 14,000 baht. Again, depending on when you watch this video, things change from day to day around here. So here's the UDT Inn. Simpler little 5-story buildings and look kind of small, but if they're competing with right here, kind of a nice high-rise and 16,000 baht, 1-bedrooms, who knows, you might get a terrific savings at one of these smaller buildings. There's another one back here, I guess. Well, technically, I think the UTD is back here. And I'm not sure what this is. Yeah, the UTD Inn. So technically it's a hotel, I guess. Okay. We're gonna go back onto 77. And see this young lady straight ahead. She's been standing there waiting for a gap in the traffic that's never gonna come to get across the street. I don't know why they just don't at least paint a crosswalk here and give a person a half a chance, but the crosswalk is a block up in front of the Big C. So just keep in mind, if you think, hey, you know, it's 2,000 baht cheaper at the base, you do have to deal with basically running across a heavy duty road to get over your traffic. Now right across from the base, this says Social Security Bangkok Office Area 12. So maybe if you're having to help your girlfriend's relatives or whatnot with Social Security, that might be an option. I have no idea how Social Security works in Bangkok. Here's Casa Asara. Again, I've walked by this a million times. I didn't really know it was there. I thought this was a business, but it's obviously a 8-story condo building with a coffee shop, DNA Coffee, down below. I'll admit, I've never lived in a high-rise, so the second I moved to Bangkok, I just wanted to get up as high as I can, and I got to the 27th floor anyhow, which is kind of fun, but not super necessary. Here's the base. Not generalizing, but the base, I won't call it, how do I word it? It's from everybody you talk to, they're normally affordable, and because maybe they used, I won't say cheaper products, but there's nothing super fancy about the base. They're clean and swimming pool and gym and all that, but other buildings, mine somewhere in the middle, will have super gold everywhere, chandeliers, all that kind of thing. I don't really care about that, just putting it out there. And with Sukhumvit up probably 2 blocks at this point, 99.9% of the time I'm walking that way. I'll come over here, there's a People's Market way up the way, and I don't really even normally walk to that. It's probably 4 or 5 more blocks. It's real easy just to take a 12-baht bus. So it's kind of a long, boring walk. So I'm not super familiar with heading this way, but we'll go to the next sets of buildings, and then that's about as far as I would go up Soi 77. Of course, you can go 2 more miles. It's just not convenient. Here's Taco and Salsa restaurant, and even though it's 1 block from my condo, for some reason I haven't tried it, but that's definitely on the list. And there's some different Thai food. Again, I'm always heading in the other direction. This is the chill out bar. I don't know anything about it, but it might be worth coming up here to have a beer. And this is just a little local alley. Different Thai business. Jeez, man, this is a noisy street. Businesses down below and 2 little units above. You got to pick your spots. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I don't hear any noise in my condo at all, but yeah, walking down this street, again, this is not traffic. Sometimes this will just be like a freeway. But it's Bangkok, and there's going to be super loud exhaust and all these kinds of things. I'm just letting you know, in case you're looking for a nice quiet street, 77 might not be the most peaceful walk home. And here's just a little drainage canal. You'd have to be careful if you moved into an apartment right within feet. Of course, there's going to be mosquitoes, but it's important to have these drainage canals with the 1 foot of rain we get every now and then in a 24-hour period. It's actually supposed to rain today, so hopefully I'll get lucky here. Mosquitoes up on that's actually my unit right there on this side of the building, and I'm up on the 27th floor. I leave the windows open a lot of the time, and mosquitoes are not a problem. The problem is the heat. So as much as I'm not really an air conditioning guy, you're going to be an air conditioning person when you live over here, unless you just enjoy sweating. And these are just some local businesses. There's actually a bicycle shop over there. They did me a solid, loaned me some tools. I was trying to give them 100 baht, nothing, less than $3, and to go get a drink or something, and there's no way he would have accepted it. Just nice people. More local businesses here. I have a tailor that just does basic hemming and really reasonable, but it's down in the Nana area. And I was telling a buddy, and he said he had a tailor up here on 77. So when you get out and about exploring the city, you'll find your people. It might just be, you know, one of these little garage doors that rolls up, and a lady sitting there with her sewing machine who does excellent work at an affordable price. We're coming up on the U Delight building, which I took a look at this building. Is it 1 or is it 2 towers? I think there's a 7-Eleven at the base. This, again, a very reasonable walk to the BTS. No, you can't see my building's in the way, but let me get up here. So there's my building. There's the base. And here's the Utah light. And there's the 7-Eleven. If you can find a building with a 7-Eleven below, that's super convenient. But on my walk from the BTS to my building, I passed two 7-Elevens and 2 large grocery stores. So that's also very convenient. I think the monks hang out back here. Never really walked over here. And this is a walkover bridge to get over busy Sukhumvit. And why they don't have one of those down there where everybody's heading to these major condos, I'm not sure. But that would be another option, is to, it's not a great option, but if you lived at the base, to walk all the way up 77 to there and walk over on the footbridge. I do need to get in there and respectfully do a little looking around. You know what, maybe I'll do that now. It's right across the street from me, and I've never walked through there. So here are the stairs. I'm gonna walk over to the other side in a second, but let me show you the Artemis building, another very popular choice on Soi 77. Artemis, let's put it this way. I always see it listed affordably on different websites, Facebook Marketplace, Hit Flat, Property Scout. Everything's gonna come with 24-hour security, but Artemis, if you have to, okay, that was a good exhaust. If you have to have a 2-bedroom, most of these buildings like mine, most buildings just kind of double the price of a 1-bedroom, if that makes sense. If it's $15,000 for a 1-bedroom, it's gonna be $28,000 or $30,000 for a 2-bedroom. Artemis, I've seen 2 bedrooms listed a little bit more affordably. Again, everything's gonna vary, but Artemis might be a good place to try to find a cheaper 2-bedroom. I'll just leave it at that. Now I'm gonna head back over to the stairs, head over to the other side of 77 and head in. I'm assuming it's a Wat, and in my little bit of knowledge, that would be a Buddhist temple, but I don't really know. I'm just gonna take a quick peek in there. It is not even 6:30 in the morning, so it might be active with people going to temple before they go to work, so I certainly don't want to disturb anybody or be out of line with my little camera. Walking across Soi 77. And this is looking down at the very end. You can see Sukhumvit, and the BTS is 2 small blocks that way. The big C's right over here. Again, there's my building, there's base. And we're gonna head up, this is Artemis. We're gonna head up to this series of buildings and that building, I forgot what they're both called. And around to the right is the People's Market. That's about as far as we're gonna look, just because there's so many thousands of choices where you don't really have to go past that. And I'm trying to keep you close to the train stations. And these guys are always an option. This is a motor taxi stand. From here, the going rate would probably be, well, it depends on if you're a local or a foreigner, but they're usually pretty good if you just hand them the 20 baht, if that's the going rate. If you walk up and say, hey, how much to go to the BTS? Well, yeah, it might be 30 or 40 baht, but I believe 20 baht's the going rate. So I'm heading up the street, and there was a monk hanging out right on 77, just sitting there. And I asked him, well, I gestured, is it okay if I go in? And I think the Wat's actually at the end, so this is just some neighborhood. He said, of course, always welcome for visit. And you know, I don't even know what's on my own street. There's a 8-story building tucked away back here. I was familiar with this building, although I forgot the name, but I had no idea about this building. It looks like we might access it from here. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. It's a lot of small little businesses, you know, very humble coffee places and all. But you're really not gonna oftentimes have a Starbucks attached to a Buddhist temple. Now it says the Wat, and I'm assuming it's a Wat, is open from 5 in the morning to 2200. And again, please forgive me. I'm a bad Catholic from California. I don't know much about the Buddhist culture. It's I'm trying to learn, but I seem to call every temple a Wat. And again, I'm not sure if that's correct or not. It looks like this school is perhaps part of the temple. It's fairly large. And this was a real party area during the Songkran Water Festival. I know there was no way you were gonna pass 77 in this area without getting doused with buckets of water, and you could hear the music up on the 27th floor. I could tell exactly what was going on. Now this says it's a school, Wat Thai school. Now this says Wat Thai. The civil temple was built around 1863 by the early Rakkasan period. The founder is unknown. Everything's pretty mellow here at 6:25 in the morning, and this is far from the tourist areas and all. You'll find these beautiful wats all over Thailand. And this is just right in my little neighborhood of Onut. In fact, there's my building, that one, and that's the base. And here's the little guard dog. Everything here seems to be locked up. I'm wandering around the grounds. I'm sure there's some place to go do a little meditation or something, but most of this area seems to be all closed up. And again, I'm sorry I can't discreetly show you inside any of these beautiful buildings. I'm not sure if school's out of session. It is the summer, or how it works. You can check out any of these wats. Usually there's an area to make a small donation, but say a 20 baht note is more than reasonable. Now I'd be discreet with walking in, sticking a camera in people's faces. But if you want to go in and check out the temple, yeah, you're more than welcome. So that's a nice little peek. My condo window actually looks out in this direction, so I've looked down here for a year now, and I've never stuck my head over here. So we're gonna get back on 77, head up the street at least 2 more blocks. And it looks like he's feeding the dogs and cats. There's no shortage of cats and little doggies running around the area. I did want to bring this up. I keep getting comments. I've did a couple of videos on the Philippines, and I know a lot of people, especially Americans, consider moving over to the Philippines, oftentimes over Thailand. And I'll always see the comment, well, they speak English in the Philippines, and I would just be frustrated in Thailand. Yeah, if you're going to head up to Isan, the country, and these types of places, they're only going to speak Thai. Maybe 10% will speak English, and these are all just guesses. But here in Bangkok, man, I would say, especially in the tourist area, 90% of people speak English perfectly. And I don't mean to say you need to come to Thailand and expect Thais to speak English, but they just do. It's especially Bangkok, Pattaya, Phuket, Krabi, these larger cities, they're just metropolitan areas, and there are people from all over the world living there, and Thai people, you know, have learned to speak English over the years to communicate with everybody. So it really makes my life easy. Just don't discount Thailand, especially larger cities, because you think 5% of the population is going to speak English. That's just not true. Now, I'm doing my best to learn some Thai, and so far I'm down to about 20 words, so that's not going to cut it. But you need to certainly learn the basics. It's about 6:40 in the morning, and this Buddhist culture really is, it's really interesting. These folks, which I'm sure are just barely getting by, paycheck to paycheck, they all pay their respects to the monks as they walk by and give them, you know, what little bit of food they can afford to give them. And the monks, they're just cruising along, very humble, barefooted, out early in the morning. I never really see these monks cruising around at 12 noon, 1 o'clock when I'm heading out. So maybe they're out walking around at 5 in the morning. I don't know. And we're back on 77. Here's the Artemis. We're going to head back up to, I think that's Lumpini Towers. I'm not sure. We'll find out. We're going to head back up the street. Hey, I did want to mention, I have in the description of all my videos an Amazon link. If you're in the US If you were to click on that link, I think I have it listed as, hey, check out the camera or phone I'm using to film this video. If you were to just click on that and buy anything at Amazon, I get, it's small, like 0.5%. So if you bought something for $100, you know, I'd get 50 cents or $1. It's small, but it adds up to 20 or 30 bucks each month. Hey, consider using that link to help support my little channel. Doesn't cost you anything. It's just I'm sending you over, and they put like a 24-hour cookie on your computer. And even on the BTS, there's a priority seat, and it says, hey, give up this seat for older people, you know, pregnant ladies, and monks. So they're very, very highly regarded in Thailand. Just with my personal laziness meter, the Artemis and Udalite, I think it's, now I'm confusing myself. That's Udalite and that's Artemis, or the other way around. Yeah, that's Udalite. This is really as far as I would recommend to come. It's a decent walk, maybe 12 minutes to the train, maybe 15 if you walk slow. We do have these series of buildings down here, but you better get a heck of a deal. If you can get a 16,000 baht one bedroom in my building, I sure wouldn't walk down there for 15,000 baht, you know, $26 savings. It's just not worth it in the heat and rain. And I never did find that 8-story building. Maybe it'll be on this little side soi. Yeah, it looks like it's tucked away back there. This is another popular building, the Lumpini Sukhumvit 77. Look like smaller units, but you're not going to get a large unit over here unless you're paying Western style prices. Most of the units, my unit's 31 square meter, which seems to be a real popular number. I'm not even sure what that is in square feet, but it's not a lot. 29 square meters is something you'll often see. Now, when you start getting into 35, 37 square meter one bedrooms, it's not going to be 16,000 baht. It might be 25,000 baht. And oftentimes, the two bedrooms, even though they might only be 41 square meters, they're still almost double the price of a one bedroom. Apartments are affordable over here, but you can see those two little balconies, and my balcony's no bigger. Well, that's just the unit on one side, that's the unit on the other, and not large at all, but very typical of everything here in Thailand and Southeast Asia and Asia in general. Apartments in Tokyo, etc., are not huge. And you know, there's a gate here with for the residents, so I'm not gonna pretend to be looking at an apartment or anything. That's not where I'm supposed to be, but you can see there's just a couple of towers, and then way on the left side over here is another 8-story building. Sometimes you can get a good value at, I won't necessarily call them older, but just some of these 6-story or 8-story buildings. Sometimes they were built 20 or 30 years ago, and they just, hey, you know, let's build these things 39 square meter. Well, they're still around today, and they're not as flashy as some of the brand new buildings. And that is a big deal over here. When a building, let's say this building's 25 years old, and my building I happen to know is 5 years old. Well, my building is just more sought after by a lot of people because it's quote unquote brand new. I don't really care about that. If I'm gonna save 200 bucks a month, then I don't know if I'd save that much, but just as an example. A lot of local businesses and places to eat as we head up to the next series of buildings. Other than that, there's really not much on this side past the Artemis. Also, I see On Nut Soi 4 over here, and this is On Nut Soi 5, so I guess I live near On Nut Soi 2. I never even paid attention to that. They're not very large sois, that's for sure. And here's On Nut Soi 6. I think the On Nut labeling, I think it starts right there at the walk bridge, because I know On Nut's a very long street. So we're at 5, and if you were to say, hey, meet me at On Nut, and I don't know if there is one, you know, 77. I think one time I had a bit of miscommunication with a taxi driver, and we were at Sukhumvit. Yeah, that little horn. He's the bot bus. Wants to know if I want to jump in the back for. It's cheap. I think it's like 8 baht. You don't have many bot buses like in Pattaya running around Bangkok, but you do have them here on 77. Somehow, he brought me from the airport all on back roads, I think to avoid the toll road. He might have asked me in Thai. I didn't understand. I would have gladly paid $1.50 more or whatever it was for the tolls, but I think I must have said no. And so he brought me the whole way from the airport, 10 or 12 miles, and I just cruised right by that dog. That's probably the 10th dog I've walked by, and not a one of them has flinched or made an aggressive move. And I only bring that up because one person seems to leave the same comment over and over on my videos. Hey, 100% of those toy dogs have rabies and they're all gonna bite you, and on and on and on. That's just not true. I'm sure that dog might not have the same shots that, you know, our dogs in California or London have, but I also remember in the 1970s and 80s, I don't remember any of our dogs going to a vet or getting shots, and they seem to manage just fine. So yeah, I wouldn't reach down and pet every soy dog that's laying out on the street, but I also wouldn't cross the street to get out of every dog's way, or you're going to be zigzagging across this street 27 times. There's just dogs everywhere. It's very, very common to just let your dog run loose and it heads home. And yeah, 99.9% of them do have a home when it's time to eat. So this is about it. This is about as far as I would recommend. I mean, you can do anything you want. You can live 10 miles from a train. I'm just telling you my little bit of advice. But that's Sukhumvit, that middle kind of pencil-thin building. And it doesn't seem that far, but we are a good 5 blocks down 77. So to get to Sukhumvit, that's where the train's gonna be. And this, to me, I wouldn't want to make this walk every day. But if you can get an incredible deal here at Lumpini too, sure, it might be worth it. But don't talk yourself into, hey, I'm 32 years old and run marathons. Yeah, that's no problem. That's great. Go run your marathons, but you don't want to walk in the 100-degree weather or pouring rain 15, 16 minutes to the train when you could have did it in 4 or 5 minutes for the same amount of rent. That's my take anyhow. And spinning the camera around, if you were to live in any of these buildings, and I do, and I've been down here 3 or 4 times, we're gonna go right around the corner to this People's Park area. There's a fancy gym there. There used to be a market, and I see a Tops sign, so hopefully Tops is coming back. It looks like they do have a 7-Eleven at the base of Lumpini too, and some outdoor exercise equipment. Hopefully they have an indoor gym. And across the way, that's a really good chicken place. Chung Mon, is that how you say it? Dentist. And once again, it's sure nice to be close to these overhead bridges, not have to try to run across this traffic. So the big C down there, you'll find your KFC and groceries and all that. And really all these condos, it's just some, how do you say it, local businesses in between until you come quite a ways down this way to People's Park. And once again, you'll have your Starbucks and I'm not sure what else is in here, Domino's, all kinds of Korean and Japanese food. It's a 2-story Starbucks. And there's a gym behind the Starbucks, if I remember right. It's a Jets, maybe. Gyms aren't that cheap over here. I think they're closer to 40 bucks a month. My gym was cheaper in San Diego, so I just used my condo gym. Oh, it's a Fitness 24/7, and it looks like down below they're going to open a Tops. It used to be, I forget what it was called, gourmet market or something. And Tops is smaller. It's kind of like a Whole Foods size, but they're nice. And hopefully this will come back. This used to be some kind of popular bar. It looks like they took the name off. Yeah, it looks like they're in there doing some remodeling. So I would come down here to check out a new pub. I've ordered from a number of these restaurants, but on Grab, I mean, for sometimes 11 baht delivery fee, and I always tack on a 20 or 30 baht tip. You don't have to do that. They'll just zip the food right to your lobby, and you can see on the phone when they're coming and run downstairs and take it out of the guy's hands. Now this is a pretty good, I'll call it a night market. It's only like 8 little stands, but one of the stands is the beer guy, and it's pretty reasonable for those towers of beer. So I have met friends down here. My one friend, she works over here, and we've met here 2 or 3 times. Oh, I see a Korean bakery back there. And wiped out a half a tower of beer. Not that expensive. Let's see the price. 650. I like Leo. She likes Leo. So 650 baht for a full tower. And I'm not sure how many pints is in a full tower. I would guess 6. I don't know. You can also get the half mugs, or it's like 2 pints in 1 mug. So this is it. This is the People's Park. I keep calling it the People's Mart. People's Park on Sukhumvit Soi 77. So really a great street to live on. I would keep it closer to the BTS. Keep in mind how busy this street is. Once again, it gets much busier than this. It'll just be almost like a freeway. So you make that decision about running back and forth across that street. If you're in reasonable shape, it's not going to be a problem. If you move a little slower, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to do it. Every now and then they have a crosswalk stripes, but you can see these people are hustling to get to work, and 9 out of 10 of them might not want to honor that crosswalk. I'll just leave it at that. So thanks for watching my little look at Soi 77. And if you like these looks around Bangkok, maybe consider subscribing. I'd appreciate that. Thumbs up wouldn't hurt my little channel either. Take it easy. Have a good morning.